Welcome in to another edition of Where the 99 Leads. I'm Andrew Joyce, your host, and today special guest will join us for this edition. Gary Justice, Vice President for Enrollment Management at the University of Pikeville, Bruce Parsons, Director of New Media at the University, and the newest coach on campus, Eric Van Hoos, esports head coach. You say, what is esports? You'll find out during the course of this 30-minute program brought to you by the University of Pikeville. Gary Justice, Director of Enrollment Management, Vice President for Enrollment Management at UPike. Esports, it's a new program. It's something that didn't exist when you arrived on campus. It didn't exist when a lot of freshmen arrived on campus last fall as well. It's new, it's exciting. We're going to find out about it, but from what we understand, it's one of the hottest things going in the country.
The national trend is jumping. I didn't know a whole lot about esports or the particular game League of Legends. I had a couple of students ask about it. We got with Bruce Parsons. Next thing you know, the number of players worldwide. Amber Collins, our Director of Missions, and myself, we went around to some local high schools, kind of did a small sample size, and the local students love it as well. So it's another opportunity we can provide an educational avenue for students.
Absolutely, and that's what it's all about, and meeting the needs of the students that are out there, and we'll talk more about that as this show goes. Gary Justice, former student at the University of Pikeville. Of course, you leave the university, you go into the world of business, and then you come back. You're part of the record enrollment trend at the University of Pikeville. You arrived on campus shortly after Governor Patton and Dr. James Hurley, and the excitement just has gone crazy from that point. It is snowballed. The enrollment numbers are huge, and I think programs like esports, reaching out to what the students want, a part of that record enrollment growth.
It really helps the students stay focused. If they have a reason to go to college, we have so many first generational students. If they have that reason to stay enrolled in school, they're going to finish and graduate.
Of course, new programs at the University of Pikeville. We talk about that on this program. Where the 99 leads, of course, we talk about the historic 99 steps that lead to the University of Pikeville campus. For decades, students have climbed those steps. Those steps also lead from campus back into the community and into the world. That's what we focus on Where the 99 Leads. And as we have students arrive on campus in record numbers over the last 4 or 5 years, new programs are a part of that. And the director of one of the newest programs on campus, New Media at the University of Pikeville, Director Bruce Parsons joins us now. And Bruce, it's one of those programs that kids get excited about.
It is, and our philosophy for media on campus is to immediately get students, your first week on campus, you have access to cameras and production facilities, and we put you right in the mix.
Absolutely. Before we go any further, cameras, production facilities, it's a part of your life. While many of us maybe deal with a wallet and putting our shoes on in the morning, that's what cameras and media equipment are to you. It's a part of your normal everyday life, not just during work hours, but it's part of what you do, who you are. Let's talk about your background and what you did, what you've achieved, and some of the things you've done before arriving at the university.
A lot of my entry into electronics and technology started with a Nintendo in 1985. That was the sort of first obsession that I had, and then I've always been interested in computers beyond that. So I did my undergraduate in graphic design and illustration, working with the computer, and then I got an MFA in film from Ohio University, and I'm working on my doctorate right now in education technology. And so learning to take video games and camera equipment in studios and put that into a classroom structure.
Sure. And the Nintendo in 1985, I think Tecmo Bowl was one of the hottest games going in 85 and in particular 86. It was coming off the Bears Super Bowl, and everyone wanted to be the Bears. I have to ask the question because many of the tech guys out there, did you ever take the Nintendo apart?
Oh, absolutely.
How many times?
More than I can count, and then you had to learn the trick with the cartridges.
Absolutely.
But you know, the first computer I ever had, I took it home, and we bought it at Radio Shack, and I'd had it for about 45 minutes before I was going through a series of prompts from a book that my stepdad gave me, and I erased the entire computer in the first 45 minutes. So then my stepdad just said, well, learn to fix it. And so I had to rebuild it and make it work again.
Wow. So, but that's what you do. And because of those experiences, you've learned that you can fix it and you can take what you absolutely wiped out and rebuild that, and you pass that along to another generation. And technology certainly changing. This is not a subject that you could begin to address topics and in a year from now be talking about the same subject matter. Your curriculum will change almost on a monthly basis.
Absolutely. And what we try to do is to identify patterns in technology.
Sure.
So if you go back to the 1800s and look at the telegraph, how it functioned is not all that different than how Twitter functions. And so if you can learn to recognize those patterns, then you can have a lot more longevity in the tech industry.
Absolutely. Bruce Parsons, Director of New Media, will be joined in just a little bit by one of the newest coaches on campus, and that's the head coach of esports. Bruce, you've entered the arena of collegiate esports, and I heard about this, I don't know, a month or so ago before Christmas. And as a sports guy, when I heard esports, it got my attention, and I wanted to know more. Tell me, what is esports?
So it's electronic sports. It's an industry and an organization and a trend that exists worldwide. It's actually just really becoming a huge hit in North America. It really started in South Korea and China. There are multiple television stations dedicated 24 hours to esports in South Korea.
Wow.
Young people start training at 10, 11, 12 to become professional esports players there. And so it's worked its way to America now, and it's a huge trend with gamers, and it's very exciting. It's just about any game can be incorporated into esports, but most of the ones that are used right now are highly competitive team games.
Sure.
So we're going to compete in what's called the Collegiate Star League, which has over 230 colleges and universities across the country who are competing.
The difference is over 200 colleges and universities competing. Most of those are competing as club sports.
Yes.
Those around the University of Pikeville will remember when UPike, then Pikeville College, began varsity football. It didn't jump into Mid-South Conference play and play varsity football year one. It began as a club sport. And currently in the United States, only 2 colleges or universities that are awarding scholarships. The others are technically club sports. And those 2 schools are.
University of Pikeville and Robert Morris University in Chicago.
And Robert Morris out of Chicago, one of the most successful teams in the country.
Yes, they've set a very high bar for performance for scholarship programs.
How long have they been competing?
Just since this fall.
Wow.
So they're in the playoffs right now from their first season, and they're currently undefeated.
So everything takes place online. There is no home field advantage.
No.
Everything is, as long as you've got internet access, then 2 teams can compete. They could play multiple matches in a day.
And the great thing is the game is free to play for people that want to give it a shot. And the entry into it is not that hard, and you don't have to have a very powerful computer to play it. Your typical home PC can run the game.
If someone wanted to look at this, wanted to try it, wanted to see what it was all about, how do they go about getting started?
Just do a Google search for League of Legends, and the game will pop up, and they can read about it. If they want to see some gameplay, if they go to twitch.tv and look at League of Legends, they'll see all kinds of gamers playing it. It just came from my office where the new season just kicked off today, and myself, along with 260,000 other viewers, were watching the first game of the professional season.
League of Legends opening day. Gary Justice, you're a baseball fan. I'm a baseball fan. Bruce is a baseball
Absolutely.
fan, if you can call baseball Cubs style true baseball. Just teasing,
That's all right.
teasing with
That's
the
all right.
Cubs fans. All right. But opening day in baseball, we take that seriously. Many people will take off opening day to catch a triple header. League of Legends, while it's new to us, this is something that is huge. It has that type of appeal worldwide.
Absolutely.
UPike, the second school in the country to offer scholarships for esports. Robert Morris out of Chicago being the other. Why did you decide that this is something that UPike wanted to do?
That's a great question, Andrew. A question that Bruce and I get quite often is this a publicity hoax or is this a national trend? Why is the University of Pikeville doing this? It's because it's to give students a reason to come to the University of Pikeville to get an education. because if you come, you're going to learn time management skills. Because this League of Legends, what I've learned, where it's 5 versus 5, there's practice time that's required. You have to go to the computer lab with your teammates and learn responsibilities. You have a coach, certain GPA requirements. You have study hall.
One computer in a computer lab and 5 teammates sharing one computer.
5 computers.
5 computers. Very good. Bruce, catch us up with the game, the team, the structure. How does this happen? Because I was immediately envisioning one computer and you got 5 guys huddled around. It's not that way at all.
Right. It's 5-on-5, and it's very strategic, and it's very team based. You have to. There's what they call the meta of the game, and that's essentially what your role is.
Sure.
Who is supposed to go out there and score the most points? Who's supposed to be support? And how you take over the other team's base. So you have to learn everything that your champion or character can do, and then also learn your opponents, so you know how to anticipate what's about to happen.
League of Legends. It's part of the esports program and scholarships being offered at the University of Pikeville. Gary, what's the benefit to offering scholarships for esports as opposed to being a club sport?
Well, the scholarships is to keep students involved in the game, for them to take it serious as well. This is not just something you can just lay up in your dorm room, not go to class. So I'm on the League of Legends team.
Sure.
This is a very serious thing for the university, and it also it's a good way for us to hold some students accountable too. I mean, this is, we're having a good time, and we're really excited about League of Legends. But the center component about this is education. How do we get you to your college degree? Everybody may not be a college the game designer, may not be a computer science major. You may have folks who are English majors, business majors, who this becomes just a stress reliever.
Sure.
They have a hard time a day in class, but if they go to League of Legends, practice for a couple hours, they take that small campus, make it even smaller, whether it be the baseball team, basketball team. You have those same guys every single day. And guys, it's co-ed, so it's not just guys.
Sure.
It could be co-ed, but you have friendships that have formed that's going to last a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce, the interest in esports, the program has been off the charts. I understand you've had national, even international interviews with the media regarding esports and the League of Legends, the scholarships being offered at the University of Pikeville. Talk about those interviews and the response the university has received since making this announcement.
It's been pretty crazy so far. I received another phone call this morning from another national news entity who's interested in coming to campus. A lot of it has been, I think the big draw to it is that we're calling it part of the athletics program here at the university, which
Sure.
is how it's structured at other schools, and that it's an e-sport. And so it piques their interest, wanting to know exactly what it is. And then I think it was a little more expected for Robert Morris to maybe do this because they're in Chicago, which is a giant metropolitan area, and we're a school in Central Appalachia doing this same thing. So one of the great things we've been able to talk about in all the press is that, we are a school located in Central Appalachia. We're service-minded. We have a mission, and bringing technology initiatives to Central Appalachia is a big part of that mission. And so we see it as an obvious extension of that. So that's been a lot of fun to share, national and international. I think the two that sort of caught me off guard, the U.S. Embassy in Jakarta, Indonesia, tweeted about it, which was, I have no clue how they learned about it.
Right.
And then I came in the next morning after the first story hit, and I had a phone call from an Irish radio station in Dublin
Sure.
that wanted me to go live. And
Right.
so I hadn't expected that either.
We had
but-
shared that information with the Irish station, and the Jakarta inquiry came from the hackers from Black Hat.
I knew things were going to get I'd finally calmed down after the first wave of media had hit, and I was about to go to bed, and then the Huffington Post tweeted it to 5 million followers, and
Yeah.
then I couldn't sleep again. So,
Boom.
yeah.
Yeah. Kind of crazy. Gary, you think about recruiting. You recruit students in all ways, all over, internationally, across the country, across the state, across the region. From an enrollment perspective, the esports program, it's huge. It's crazy. I didn't realize that it was here in Central Appalachia, but apparently the next generation They certainly do, and they're excited about it. What are plans for recruiting involving esports in our local and national students, even international?
Well, first of all, as far as the international program, Sandy Crow, our Director of Global Education, she's very excited about this because it allows, again, gives a reason why some of the international students may want to come to the University of Pikeville to play League of Legends, and also they may not be as intimidated to come from another country to Pikeville because they know they have that comfort zone of League of Legends. And how does that help the university? It helps us out because it gives us a more diverse campus where more students can learn internationally. Locally, it also shows that we have a lot of technology here on campus where students not only just use technology, but they can create things with technology. That's something Bruce has been teaching me, and that's part of our mission here, is to provide as much education as possible. And then nationally, it comes that we're on the map. We know we're a school of destination, and the University of Pikeville is on the cutting edge with Governor Patton and Dr. Hurley. There's nothing the University of Pikeville can't do, and this all started with a conversation with a student who said, hey, how about we start a League of Legends club? The next thing you know, we're offering scholarships, getting a lot of national attention. So really, we're listening to our students.
Yeah, and national attention in this regard, certainly something that's welcomed for a university like the University of Pikeville. Bruce, you're getting inquiries from potential students about this. Mm-hmm. They want to know about scholarships. They want to know about esports. They want to know, I can really go to college and play League of Legends for a scholarship. How are you managing those inquiries?
It's been pretty interesting so far. So we've received in the last week and a half about 250 inquiries from around the world, from Jenkins to Cairo and on around the rest of the world. And so it's been a lot of fun. We're right now asking them to fill out prospective athletic forms the way that any prospective student athlete would.
Sure.
We're going to look at GPA. We're going to look at ACT, SAT scores, and then we're going to look at what's called the ELO, which is their rank within the League of Legends game. So we can get a good feel for how skilled they are based on that.
So they're ranked.
They are. They can be.
Can be.
They can be.
Can be. Mm-hmm. Gary, of course, being a student athlete, it takes a great deal of dedication, regardless of the sport. Esports, it's going to require that same dedication. A lot of time spent practicing, spent participating, and then time management that we all know is so important. What steps are you taking to make sure that the players are successful, not only in the classroom, but also in the gaming arena?
Well, you know, at the university, we have everything set up for students to be successful. So everything that every other sports program or any other student at the University of Pikeville, that support system will be the same thing. We reached out to all the students who participate in esports. Again, going back to study halls, to required GPA, to with the Ambry Array and student success, academic tutoring, whatever those students need to be successful, we're going to make sure they're successful.
And Bruce Parsons, of course, Director of New Media at the University of Pikeville. Esports has arrived at the University of Pikeville as a scholarship sport. I'm going to step into a role of interviewing perhaps someone like Coach Calipari at UK, who is faced with this question on an annual basis because he's known for recruiting the best of the best, the guys that will come in and play 1 year of college basketball and go pro, the one and dones. You have players that can be ranked
Absolutely.
across the world. Before we went on air, I hear that players can go pro. There is a professional level of these esports. If someone comes to you and they've achieved that level and they're faced with the decision, go pro or play at the collegiate level, what do you tell those students?
Well, it's actually already happened at Robert Morris.
Wow.
One of their top player played in the collegiate league for 1 month and then got an offer to go pro, and he left to do so. And so that's been a big question that's happened, and I think you handle that on a player-to-player basis. And we're interested in recruiting players at UPike who can compete at a very high level, but are also interested in getting their college degree.
Right.
And I look at it as the same as any sport where you might want to go pro, or a program like film. You don't have to go to film school to be a good filmmaker, but it gives you a safe place to learn. You learn structure. You have a support system. You get to network, and you get to do all that in a place where you're not just out in the world.
You're tuned to Where the 99 Leads. Our thanks to Vice President for Enrollment Management, Gary Justice, at the University of Pikeville. Bruce Parsons, Director of New Media. Bruce will stay with us, and when we come back after this break, we'll be joined by the esports head coach at UPike, Eric Van Hoos, coming up next on Where the 99 Leads. Welcome back to Where the 99 Leads. Today we talk about the newest sport on campus, esports. It features League of Legends, an online gaming experience, and we're joined by the first head coach of esports at the University of Pikeville, Eric Van Hoos, will join us now, along with Bruce Parsons, Director of New Media. And Eric, first let's talk about, number one, your job at the University of Pikeville. You deal with technical things here, all things technical. When something blows up, you know how to handle that. When Bruce is taking a Nintendo apart in 1984, you deal with those same type of issues.
When he said he put it back together, he actually called me and I had to go put it back together.
We understand how you guys are. But you're in that role now, but you also have history at the University of Pikeville. Talk about that.
Well, I was a student here. I've been on campus now since 2007, pretty much. I was a student here and then graduated. I was gone for about 3 or 4 months before I came back as a staff member, and I've been here for another 2 years. And
truly becomes like family. Once
definitely.
Students arrive on campus, they make that first trek up the 99 steps leading to campus, and it's tough to leave sometimes, and many do become part of the family and never leave. And now something that has to have blown you away.
Oh,
Being a guy who deals with technology, you understand the gaming world. Esports, now a scholarship sport at the University of Pikeville. When you arrived as a student in 2007, did you ever imagine that someone would be able to play a video game at UPike and get scholarship dollars?
absolutely not. I would have loved to have been involved in it, but
Sure.
Now that I'm here and in the university and a part of the staff, I realize if you can think it, we can probably do it. I mean, the number of programs that get started here is just astounding.
Yeah, it is amazing. Eric, let's talk about, number one, your gaming experience. Are you a gamer? And talk about some of your experience. And then we'd like to learn more about the game, League of Legends.
Well, yes, I am a gamer. I've played since I can remember, really. I mean, here recently I've been playing League of Legends, obviously, and World of Warcraft I played a lot, but I didn't really just play. I actually went into the theory crafting and the min-maxing and like trying to figure out what is the absolute optimal builds that you can do and how can you get better no matter what.
Sure.
And as far as what is League of Legends, it's a multiplayer online battle arena, or a MOBA. And it's just 5v5, and you have separate bases, and you have to go through the lanes and go through obstacles to get to the other base, and then hopefully destroy it.
Old school Stratego.
It's pretty much.
Yeah, but it's gone high tech.
Just a little.
A little bit. The high tech world blows me away, the gaming world, because I am an old school gamer. I go back to the 80s and Nintendo. I go back to, before that, Atari, and before that, Pong was a big deal for me. Things have certainly changed. I have 20-something children. I have a teenager now who's involved in the newest technology now, and to see the gameplay, it's like watching a movie in our day. It was seeing a movie on the big screen. How much further does gaming go?
It can go, it's going to keep going faster and faster. I mean, don't get me wrong, movies are always going to be there, but why not have a movie that you can be the star in?
Right.
And that's essentially what video games are.
And you can control which direction the actors may go, which direction the plot goes as well.
It's all you.
For an old guy like me, that's scary, Eric.
I read a great article not long ago from an education person talking about media theory and the fact that you can sit down and be passive in a movie and just watch through the movie.
Sure.
But a video game, you have to earn the right
Right.
to get to the next part of the story,
Sure.
and you may never get there. There's still a lot of those original Nintendo games that I have no clue what happened because they were so hard.
Right.
But it's similar in theory to a film, but it makes you be an active participant rather than passive watching.
Absolutely. Eric, of course, we mentioned earlier, Robert Morris University was the first school to offer scholarships for esports. Have you been in touch with their program?
We have. They've been very, very helpful, and we look forward to talking more with them. And they've really given us kind of an outline of, somewhat of an outline rather, of where to go, because
Sure.
it's kind of uncharted territory.
Absolutely. Bruce, UPike will compete in the Collegiate Star League, the CSL, as we talked earlier. How did you hear about that organization?
When we heard from the students who were interested in starting a club here at UPike, I started doing research, and there's a couple of different leagues out there, and the CSL was the one with, when you log in and you see Duke and UK and UNC and University of Southern California and all these, very prominent schools are competing, it started to make a little more sense. And then that's actually what led us to finding out about Robert Morris. And then it was there an NAI school comparable in size to us, and it just sort of seemed to make sense.
What are some short-term, long-term goals for the program?
I think short term, we're meeting today with students on campus to put together some scrimmage teams, but we want to build a successful esports program at UPike. So year one, we're looking at League of Legends only competition, but there are other organized esport games out there, even within the CSL, that we can build and grow into. And so it might be year one, we have a League of Legends team, but in year two, there's 3 or 4 different games being played.
Sure. 5-on-5 with League of Legends. How many students do you anticipate could be involved ultimately in the program?
We're looking at around 20 to 30 students, and going to cap it at that. That's manageable for us, and that's sort of the limits of how many we can field within the CSL. So we can do one Division I team and then multiple Division II teams. So one of the things that Gary had mentioned early on and we're really excited about is doing an all-freshman team.
Interesting. Eric, who will UPike face in matches?
Well, he just mentioned a few of them, Duke, UNC, there's little college or University of Kentucky.
I think I've heard
you
of
may
them.
have heard of them. I don't know, but they're involved, and obviously Robert Morris. But we're not entirely sure what division we'd be in, but hopefully we'll know soon.
Very good. And play begins when?
It'll be October of 2015.
Fall of next year. We'll look forward to that. Bruce, what do you think will be the greatest challenge as you look to build the esports program at UPike?
I think it's going to be challenging for the esport athletes to come in, and they may be used to playing as a team, but by themselves at their house. And so they're going to have to learn to be student athletes. And I think that's going to be an interesting challenge for any new student athlete that comes in. So we have a nice structure of how to deal with that, but I think it's going to be a learning curve for them to balance out all the things in their student life that they need to do.
If someone's tuned in right now and they are a League of Legends superstar and they're a high school junior or senior, they're interested in the program. Maybe it's someone who's been out of school and is looking to continue their college education. They're a gamer. They're a League of Legends type person. Eric, how would they go about contacting you if they wanted more information about the program?
Well, there's 2 ways. You can email us at esports@upike.edu, or you can go to upikebears.com, and under the recruits page, you can fill out the prospective athletes form and select esports as your primary sport.
Same as anyone else that plays a competitive sports. You go to upikebears.com and click on the recruit info. It's a collegiate sport, ladies and gentlemen. Esports, for the gamers out there, this is real. This is happening. There are scholarships available for your student athlete whose sport just happens to be gaming or League of Legends. That's right. It can lead to a scholarship. Eric Van, who's head coach of the esports program at UPike, thanks for being with us today. This is exciting for me.
Thank you. It's
And I'm
exciting
not
for
a
me.
gamer. You know me. I'm a sports guy. I'm not a gamer. But this is exciting stuff. It's new, it's different, and I think you'll see a great trend with this. Bruce, Director of New Media at UPike, always our pleasure to have you there.
Thanks.
You're always on top of it, cutting edge. He's on the leading edge of technology, always. Bruce Parsons, Director of New Media at the University of Pikeville. We also say thanks earlier to Gary Justice, Vice President for Enrollment Management, as today on Where the 99 Leads, we talk about esports scholarships, opportunities available at the University of Pikeville. This program has been brought to you by the University of Pikeville, the leading university of Central Appalachia. Thanks for tuning in.